All
So
right,
sorry.
ladies and gentlemen, we are here today with Katrina Masters. I do have it written down in front of me, and she's right in front of me on the screen. And we're talking about her, really. We're talking about Katrina Masters, who she is, and how she's coping with the current lockdown measures and all that sort of stuff that's going on, how she switched, how she came into the industry. I'm going to make a confession before we start. We did record this on Friday and I completely stuffed it up. So there was no sound, which did not work very well. So hopefully today we can get the show on the road and everything works perfectly. Now, I'm going to refer to her as Katie because that's what I know her as. So she is the owner of Katie Masters Health and Fitness. And I'm going to let her introduce herself as well. Here she goes.
Awesome. All right. Hi, I am Katie. I run Katie Masters Health and Fitness. I've been a trainer for quite a few years now. I left a career in digital after having a few health issues, had a mini stroke, had a very high stress lifestyle, and decided that I wanted to change my life, and in the process help change other people's lives, or help them, give them the tools so that they can change their own lives. And yeah, that's, what else would you like to know, Brad?
All right, we're going to go into that backstory. Obviously, we want people to understand who you are and give them a real good idea of what drove you and what keeps driving you. So let's start from back there. You were talking about you did start in a digital background, so this is right up your alley, what we're doing right now. So you're the expert. I'll leave it in your perfect hands.
Well, really, my journey into health and fitness started a lot longer ago than that. In my early 20s, I was sick for quite a while with chronic fatigue syndrome. And I went to doctors, went to specialists. No one could actually help me until I was put onto a naturopath by one of my cousins. The naturopath helped me in some respects, and then hiring my first trainer and getting back into the gym was probably the next step in that process. So really, it was just really about reclaiming my health, stripping my diet back to real, like, simple, wholesome food, moving, good movement, and learning ways to manage stress. And I reclaimed my health, and I was so healthy that I thought, I'm going to do it all over again and ruin my health. So I went to a career in digital. And from there, I discovered digital, if you're in development and design and things like that, you generally are at the end of a long chain of processes, and you're at the mercy of people higher up making decisions at the last minute, where you would have to pick up the slack when there's deadlines. So I was doing crazy hours, quite a high pressure environment, and it didn't really matter. I kept changing jobs as well at one point, so I was unhappy in digital. And like, initially when I had chronic fatigue and I was sick, I actually wanted to become a trainer then, but I didn't follow my intuition. Instead, I followed my logic, going, okay, but I'll make more money in digital, so I'm going to go with digital. And yeah, and so I did, and I felt I was really unhappy after a while once the novelty sort of wore off. And then I changed jobs for a while, still couldn't find anywhere that I was quite happy, because the same cycles kept happening. Obviously needed to do a lot of inner work as well, but also it's just the nature of the industry as well. And then I had a mini stroke. I figured out today it was actually 7 years ago. So mini stroke while I was at work. One of my lovely co-workers made me go to the hospital, which I'm very grateful that she did, because I'd had a mini stroke. And from there, I just made the decision that this is not the life for me. I am going to go and like, bite the bullet, go and become a PT. And it took a while for me to actually completely leave digital, because I was always a bit scared of, like, not having that safety net there, because it was a good income. And like, one of the last roles I had in digital was working in social media at Monash University, where obviously that, my time there actually helped me a lot with my PT career, because obviously it helped me with social media and things like that, learning how to write succinctly and edit out a lot of my crap. And while I was there, I got to interview a lot of like mindfulness experts and all their Olympic athletes and stuff like that. So while I was transitioning over, I was still able to do some work that was right up my alley and talk to a lot of inspiring people that I actually learned a lot from. And then I became a full-time PT a couple of years ago. And that's like around the time that I went studying at FMA with you. And yeah, and now that's all I do. And I fortunately, that's really all I do at the moment. With lockdown, that's all I can do is work.
Lots of social media.
Social media, lots of Zoom calls, lots of video. Yeah. So back work. Yep.
So training. Let's get into training now. Yes, we did meet through the FMA strength training program that they run. Sorry, and that's we've obviously been in contact with each other a little bit over the years. What's your training and your philosophy on training at the moment? Obviously, with lockdown. Actually, let's go training and philosophy before lockdown, and training and philosophy during lockdown, and all the craziness that's happening.
Yeah. All right, cool. So sort of before lockdown, I was quite strength focused, and obviously being that I studied with FMA, I was very interested in mobility and rehab and all things, body movement. And also having that sort of more holistic approach to it, factoring in lifestyle factors, stress, food, sleep, emotional states, all of that stuff that comes with what we studied. But really a lot of my work was in person in the gym, because prior to FMA, I actually did do a fair bit of online coaching. And I found the more that I spent time in the gym, I actually enjoyed the environment there, because I had wanted to get out of digital. So I was sort of doing a little bit of online coaching when this happened, but most of my business was bricks and mortar in the gym, in a couple of gyms. So from when lockdown struck, the initial phase, one of the gym members were at the Good Life gym that I work at, was a handstand coach, my friend Steve. So I asked him to help me learn some handstand splits, back bending, just a bit of calisthenic work, because it was something completely different to what I'd done traditionally. And it was something that I could do at home with minimal equipment, because while I do have some equipment, and I obviously was working outdoors with clients when lockdown started, when we were able to, I didn't want to have to load my equipment up flights and flights of stairs every day if I wanted to train, or not necessarily train outdoors all the time because it was winter. So I wanted to do something also. It wasn't just about the physicality of it. It was also that I wanted to have something that would keep me mentally stimulated and was a challenge, so that whatever I was sort of facing with the lockdowns and everything didn't seem as daunting. Because as you know, being a trainer, the more you push yourself outside of your comfort zone, the more you build resilience, the more you build strength, and the more you build self-belief. So it's been really good that I've sort of started doing a bit of that stuff as well. But I have still done my traditional strength and conditioning sorts of training, a lot of kettlebell work since lockdown, because I didn't use them at the gym. Like obviously, kettlebell swings, all the standard things, and some really good rehab things to do with them. But since lockdown, they've probably become one of the pieces of equipment that I use the most with clients, because they're so versatile. Them and bands, obviously. They allow me to do a lot of different things. But yeah, really missing using barbells now. But yeah,
but
philosophy
so
versatile now. So thinking on the feet more.
Yeah.
Improvising a lot more, and just also a lot more body weight movement than I ever really did before, because there's a lot of really difficult stuff that you can do can be challenging and can really challenge people in terms of strength and also mobility. It's been a big, huge shift to a lot more mobility work with the lockdowns, because especially when clients are struggling mentally, I'll just be like, okay, let's just chat and we'll do some mobility work, we'll do some breath work, anything to sort of alleviate the anxiety. And so they're not so hard on themselves about not training. Like a lot of people have sort of been like, I want to train, but I can't. And it's like, well, we can still work around that. We can still get you moving. So you're not going to lose your strength. You're not, you're still making progress, but sometimes we just need to tone it back.
And I think that that's one thing that a lot of this has brought forward, is that the mobility and the body awareness stuff really needs to come to the forefront. And there's a lot of, you can hide a lot of stuff behind a barbell, like a lot of, you can shorten reps, you can do all that sort of stuff. But if your body's feeling shit and you're feeling shit,
you should probably work on it.
Yeah. And I think that's a big thing for a lot of people, is they need to just be aware of their body. Sometimes the best movement, or the best thing to do, like you said, just do some mobility, work on your squats. Can you sit at the bottom of a squat, with a really good position, or are you knees touching and your ankles rolled in? Sometimes.
All those little things. And it's been a huge focus since we've been in lockdown. And just even people that do have equipment at home, one of the things I'm getting them to do is they might have a home gym, and I'm like, awesome, I wish I had your garage, but we're still going to work on mobility, because I'm not wanting you to get under that bar if you're not working on these things, because I'm not there to spot you now. So you need to be able to perform these movements properly.
Yeah. And a big thing I think like you were brought up before, is people's anxiety in this current climate, putting them under more stress, putting a barbell or heavy dumbbells or whatever they've got access to, that's not going to help. So what are some of the things you've really been pushing, or not pushing, but you've really had to bring to the forefront when dealing with your clients?
Mm-hmm. Well, just the need for them to get outside and go for a walk, get some daylight in the middle of the day, boost those vitamin D levels. It'll help with your, your sleep cycle. So really the importance of working on their sleep, because it's something that's actually been easier to work on in lockdown. It's something that a lot of people have struggled with, but because you can't go out, there's, lots of strategies that we've sort of been looking at using with different clients to help them get better sleep. And one of them is, getting outside, go for a walk. If you're not feeling up to training, don't beat yourself up over it. Go outside for a walk. Take your dog out. Just get out. Take your kids out. Just get out of the house, because that's being indoors all the time. Because before it was like that thing about people spend their lives in boxes. They're in their house and they get in their car and they go to the office, or they get in the train and they go to the office. And they get in the car or the train and they come home. Now they literally are stuck in a box all day long indoors. And so all the, the recurring themes that you see with people who work in offices anyway, so like, the weak underused glutes, the tight hamstrings, the tight hip flexors, the forward head, the rounded shoulders, all of these things that are usually pretty bad when people are in offices. Even people who don't have office jobs have them now, because they're all at home. They're all using computers all the time. They're all sitting down all the time. They're looking at their phone all the time. And just, getting people to take a little bit of a step back from technology, get that break, get out in nature, work on the mobility and the, just posture and all of these things, breath work, because a lot of people are just breathing at the moment, and they're, like, oh, my shoulder mobility is really crap now. And I got chest pains and I've got tight, I've shortened pecs and everything. And it's like, well, you're sitting like this all day and you're chest breathing. Like, how this is helping you if you just can breathe into your diaphragm. If you could get some fresh air, if you could get some sunlight, get everything moving, you're going to feel a lot better. And it's so much more important now than ever before, because people are moving less, unless if they're doing structured activity. Then you've got some people who are moving more because now that they're working from home, they're like, I'm just going to go for a walk and then skip that meeting.
Yeah.
Good, like I encourage it. If you're getting your work done, who cares really?
Yeah.
It's more about having a little bit more light work-life balance, which some people are really adopting now, which is good because they're recognizing the need for it within themselves because of how they're feeling. But yeah, there needs to be more of a push towards that in the mainstream media and government and stuff. But yeah, hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll get there. But I think that's a good thing that you've pointed out is the news and the media affecting people's anxiety levels as well. It's
Yeah,
very easy to get caught up watching the newsreel over and over again, and yet those anxiety levels just keep peaking and peaking and peaking, and
yeah.
it's it's not a way to live. I know for myself, it's just looking at a couple of numbers, a couple of things, and then turn it off, go see something else, go do something else.
Live your life in the best way you can because we're not here to hide under our bed because of the COVID boogeyman. Like, you
Yeah.
need to actually live your life and, appreciate the people around you and have those interactions because they're the things that make the difference between you feeling stressed and anxious, sitting at home glued to your phone or the television, listening to the latest update, or getting out, enjoying the sun, enjoying the company of the people who you can be around, catching up with a friend for a walk. Something that simple can make a huge difference over sitting at home and being pounded with these messages of doom and gloom and there's nothing you can do about it. It's really disempowering and people feel helpless. Whereas you can take steps to help yourself by looking after your health, by looking, exercising, eating well, sleeping well, recovering well, looking after your mental health. All of those things are within your power. Yes, you can't do anything about the way the lockdown is and all the rules and restrictions that we have to live with, but you can do these things for yourself to make yourself healthier so that you will have a stronger immune system and you will be in a better position mentally. You'll be more resilient. You'll be more calm so that you can deal with whatever crazy shit the news and the government throw at us next. But yeah.
So, have you seen the latest news? Obviously, we're recording this on Sunday, the Father's Day, and Daniel Andrews did his speech or news announcement. How's your mental state after?
Well, I had read the article that was leaked the other day because obviously I've friends and clients who are really wanting to get back to training outdoors and one of them had forwarded it to me. So I had read that article because I don't go looking for that stuff really.
Yeah.
But it was pretty much in line with what I'd already read. So I wasn't particularly shocked. I was a bit disappointed that things are going to take even longer than that article itself had pointed out. And I'm just more concerned for people I know who are already high risk because this news is not going to do them very good here, especially if they're struggling with being alone and being away from people that they care about. And like on a personal note, like, that my dad's been in hospital and everything. And it's like, it makes it harder for me to go see him and things like that. Like, so I'm not thrilled with the news. And in terms of trainers, like we're looking at maybe the end of September, early October, we can work outdoors again. And then maybe sometime in November, gyms will be open. So it's not great news on the health and fitness front in that regard. But I think we just have to adapt and do the best we can for our clients at the moment and just really step up and do what the best we're able to do using the technology and everything that's available to us. I mean, it'd be a lot worse 20 years ago if this happened. We wouldn't have had any of these options. So we are fortunate in that regard. But also, yeah, I'm not overly pleased with the news, but I also chose not to be home to watch it. I was outdoors training when the news was on because that's what I needed to do for myself. I needed to get out and move. I needed the company of one of my friends and clients to train with because we hadn't seen each other for a while and it was great to catch up with her, take my dog outside, have some fun, enjoy the sun and not just sit there getting out my tinfoil hat
Yeah.
and worrying about things, because I am not in charge of, the state. I can't do anything about the rules. So, I'm in charge of myself and my body and my brain. And so for me, mentally, it was better to not be watching it. I know that I can go back and look at some dot points and some infographics and go, okay, this is clear and concise. I don't need to listen to this double speak that's on television that I'll need an interpreter for. I'd
Yeah.
rather just read points later when it's all clear and concise, and I'm not having to listen to these doom and gloom messages constantly, because it's not good for anyone.
No, it's not. Now, on that, we're talking about being adaptable and things like that. How is your business? How have you adapted your business to the current climate? So obviously the first lockdown and then into this second one. We did have a 2-week period where we were
Back in
allowed.
the gym. Yeah. With the first lockdown, from the get-go, I had been planning to do outdoor group fitness with another trainer, and then I had my own COVID scare, and then I was just like, I can't do this. Like, at the time, I was quite fearful of it all. I mean, rightly so, but I'm like, I can't run a group fitness session with, one trainer for 10 people, because I can't guarantee that they're all going to be okay. Because if I'm training them one-on-one or two-on-one, we all have that agreement. We're all there. We all know each other, and we're all going to be really careful. But if we've got a group of 10 people, they don't all know each other. So there's always that risk factor, and there's not going to be as much. Yes, there's going to be a care factor, but there's not the same level as if you're one-on-one or two-on-one. So I just decided from there to start looking at doing Zoom group sessions. And like, I just started, like, literally I messaged all my clients, and I was like, I've got like a Facebook community page, messaged them all, and I'm like, I want to try out doing a Zoom fitness session. It's a free class. All I ask is that you fill out a survey at the end. And they did that. And then from the next week, I just started doing three Zoom classes a week, and then I upped it to 4. And then from there, a lot of my existing clients were happy to go to Zoom. For a long time, I was able to still train people in person, one-on-one. But as time went on, it got a little bit more difficult to manage it all. So I was pretty much 50-50 Zoom PT. Well, not just doing Zoom PT sessions. There was a lot more focus on the nutrition. There's a lot more focus on all that other stuff that's sometimes a little bit harder to touch on in a gym environment.
Yeah.
You have some clients that are really interested in that stuff, and some that they're not as interested in it, and so they don't take it as seriously. But everyone's sort of started to take all that stuff a lot more seriously. And then from there, when we had the brief period where we went back to the gym, I actually had a lot of clients that weren't ready to come back, and I'd given them the option. So I was doing gym sessions, I was doing outdoor sessions, and I was doing the online sessions. And some of my clients some of them are doing weekly sessions, some of them were just doing coaching catch-ups, and they're doing their own training, and they've got programs and everything. So I've just had to be really adaptable to do what would suit the people that I was training the best anyway, depending on their work situation, their location and everything. And then with the most recent lockdown, I pretty much shifted. Everyone's gone to online, obviously, because I can't train anyone outdoors. But also, it's only been like 1 or 2 that haven't gone into doing online sessions, because I think people realized in the first lockdown how much they need this stuff for their own. Because there's some that had dropped off, and now they've come back on board because they need it, and it's so much harder for them to actually exercise now, especially with the 1-hour outdoor thing. I mean, I know that's about to change, but and rightly so. But I mean, I'm pretty sure most people are outdoors for more than an hour at the moment anyway. But so I've had people come back and they just want to do online coaching. They just need that accountability there, because just the grinding pressure of it all, with like everyone's mental health suffering. A lot of people that even, that would train on their own haven't been able to. They've just felt crippled and just really demotivated, and that haven't had a very positive outlook on life, just because it's been 6 months now of the constant changes, the constant uncertainty, and it's really grinding people into the ground. So they need that. They need a bit of positivity in their lives. They need movement. They need those endorphins. they need the connection. So yeah, I'm doing a lot of online work now, which means I need a lot of outdoor time to make up for all the screen time.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, but how's your mental state been from when this first started to now? Because I know for myself, you have highs and lows and stuff like that. So just want to get your feel of how you've gone through.
Yeah. Well, I think in the first lockdown, I went into overdrive, and obviously you can't stay in that state. So I had like 1 to 2 weeks where I wasn't eating very well. I didn't even train. I didn't have time because my brain was ticking over with ideas. And I think because I am I am a creative. Like that's what I did when I was in digital. My brain just went into overdrive. I had all these ideas, and a lot of them never came to fruition because it was too many things. And with that, I kind of ground myself into the ground, and then I hit a bit of a low. But then, for the most part, I wasn't too bad because I'm very lucky. I'm surrounded by awesome clients, awesome colleagues, awesome coaches. So I have a lot of positive influences in my life. Family's super supportive. So I've surrounded myself with good people. So that's helped me to get through all of it. But with the second lot of lockdowns, and I found this not just for myself, but for a lot of the coaches that I know that did really well in the first lockdown, well, as best you could in the first lockdown, I think they're the ones that felt the worst in the second lockdown, because it's like I've just been putting so much effort into making sure everyone's okay and looking after everyone, and keeping my business going, keeping providing good content, and doing all these things. Like as a PT, you wear so many hats anyway. You're a trainer, and you're helping them with their food, and you're helping them with their mental state, and you're a confidant, and then you've got to do all of your financial stuff, and you've got to do all of your digital stuff, and you've got to do everything. But with this shift, we're doing even more than what we were doing before. And I think for a lot of people, that they just hit like a real low with the second lot of lockdowns, because it was like, fuck, you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel when you were getting back into the gym, and it was just a kick in the guts. And it's like, you only have so much energy, and you only have so much get up and go. And when it's just repeated every 2 weeks is a change, and so it's like you're being asked to pivot left, right, and center, you're obviously going to get burnt out. And it's obviously like, the first week or so was really hard. Then I started feeling a bit better. And then in the last couple of weeks, I've like been very up and down because I've had like serious life things happen. And everything's so much harder with lockdown. Like something as simple as organizing thank you packs for my clients took me 2 weeks because nothing's open. Got to wait for postage on everything. And it's just, there's so many hurdles to doing the simplest thing now. You can't just duck down to Kmart and buy some paper for the printer, or whatever it is. Everything we do has an extra layer of red tape now. So it's just really, really difficult to get things done in terms of running a business. And it's really, and a lot of other people are feeling like my clients have needed me more than ever. A lot of them are really, really struggling with their mental health. And it's not just them, it's the other people I know. It's, my mum, every time I spoke to her, she was really suffering this time. And she's not the sort of person to lash out at people. And she's been lashing out at people because everyone's just been struggling so much with it. And as a coach, being empathetic, as you take on board a lot of that stuff, whether you plan to or not. Like there's so many strategies you can use to look after yourself. But at the end of the day, if you're constantly giving and giving and giving, it really does wear you down. And obviously you want to be there for your clients. You need to be there for your clients at the moment. It's actually really hard to switch off. Whereas when you're in a gym, it's a little bit easier to switch off at the end of the day. Now you're constantly contactable, and people are dealing with some really awful things now. So it's very hard to just go, okay, I'll respond to that tomorrow. It's like, no, this person's suicidal. I can't do that. It's like, yeah. So it's been quite a challenge with that. it does get you, and the emotions are up and down. But again, once again, I just have to look after my health. I have to surround myself with good people and try to put good things out there that'll help as many people as possible.
Yeah, and that's obviously like the goal for myself with these is showing people that your trainer is more like, they're not just the person who gives you the exercise in the gym. A lot of people know that. I know that, but there's a lot of people who have trainers who already know that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also trying to give people a human face and giving them something to, that everyone's doing it hard. Yes.
Yeah.
We see some people, especially on social media, they always seem to be living it up, and you sit there and you're like,
But they're not.
yeah, that can't be true. And so that, I think this conversation is more important than a lot of the stuff. And making sure that, like you said, connecting with good people and giving people exposure to more good people.
Yeah.
People in my circle that probably won't know you very well, and vice versa. But if we can get those circles meeting together and just really expand. And
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Our sense of community has sort of been taken away from us because a lot of that is based on like in-person interactions. So really, I think a big job as coaches is to sort of keep that alive for our clients and for our greater sort of networks, because the more people can help each other and the more people will get through it, basically, because it is a very trying time.
now, you said earlier that you were working on handstands, back bridges, and the splits. I must admit, I have been following on social media. How are they coming along? Are they improving?
They are definitely improving. Like, yeah, when I was doing some sessions with Steve before he went to Spain, I couldn't even get up on the wall on my own. And now I'm doing like scapular raises and scapular depressions into raises and bending my elbows, and I can get off the wall with airtime a little bit now. So yes, I've become a lot better since the safety blanket has been taken away. Like, it can help me get up. Now I have to get up on my own. So I'm feeling a lot more confident and a lot stronger with that stuff. Yeah, so I got to the point where it was, and that was one of the biggest lows I had in the first lockdown was I just felt shit because I couldn't even get up on a wall. I just feel this is so frustrating. Mentally was challenging me that little bit too much at one point. But then once I got past that period and was able to get up, it was just like so exhilarating, because it was like I finally overcame this hurdle that had taken me like 3 months to get over. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? It was such a mental block for me. And being able to do it was like, oh, this is great. If I can push myself to do something like this, I can do anything. Yeah. So no, it was very good for my mental state and my resilience once I pushed through it. It was pushing through it that was hard. And that's the thing, we've all got to push through this at the moment.
Yes. But it is that reliance on being physically strong and doing physical activity really does help. And I think people really need to understand that if you're not moving, like it's like everything, if you're not moving and progressing yourself forward, you're going backwards. And a lot of it is like mental health that goes first.
You just feel shit. Your body becomes stagnant. None of your systems work properly. Like your organs start packing up. Like the less you move, everything just goes to shit. Your muscles become tight and weak and everything hurts for no reason. It's much better to have a little bit of muscle pain from a good workout than to have muscle pain just from getting out of bed in the morning. And especially as you get older, because I'm not 20. If I wasn't doing this stuff, I would feel a lot older, look a lot older, and I wouldn't be able to do half the stuff that I'm doing. It's great being able to do these things at my age as well. So I think people don't realize how much your mental state and your overall physical health itself matters with this stuff. Like your bone density, all your connective tissues. If you're not exercising, as you age, you're going to be at risk of so many more diseases and injuries. You're going to fall over and break your hip and have to get a hip replacement, and then it's all downhill. Like, you've really got to look after this stuff now. And now you have a unique opportunity where you probably have more time at home than ever before. And if you structure your days well, then you can find time to do all of these things and work on this to actually set yourself up really well for the future. Like, you can learn strategies to manage your stress. You can learn how to get stronger. You can learn how to have better heart health. You can learn how to eat better. You can learn how to sleep better. And so when you do go back into the world, you'll be a lot better prepared to deal with the pressures of life as well.
Well said. Well said. Yeah, I think that's like you're already talking about. Like, I was about to ask, things that you've taken out of the gym that you use every day, and obviously, one of them is that if you can teach yourself or not teach yourself, but if you can learn to do a handstand and get yourself upside down, there's so much that you can do.
Yeah, that you never thought possible.
Yeah.
That's just one example of it. In doing that, I was like, well, all the stuff that I'm facing with my business, all the challenges I'm facing with my clients, they don't seem so challenging now because I could do this one little thing, stand on my hands. But it sounds so trivial, but to me, it was such a challenge to be able to do it that now everything else seems a little bit easier. And it's just given me that bit of extra resilience and that little bit of extra self-belief, because a lot of the time that's what's lacking with people, especially when we're going to be coming out of like months of living in our houses. Everyone's, people aren't feeling great about themselves now. Their self-esteem's low, their self-belief is low. So it's something, if you can do things to challenge yourself, then you will start to restore that, which, a lot of people are lacking that in their lives at the moment. I don't think making sourdough and banana bread is that much of a challenge. So, I mean, it's great.
When was the last time you tried it?
You're learning how to make something from scratch. That's great. I shouldn't joke about things like that, because that is a great skill to have. Yeah. But at the same time, if you can do something that scares the fuck out of you, if you can find a way to do something like that and overcome that hurdle, then it'll help prepare you mentally for whatever life's going to throw at you in the coming months.
And I think what a lot of people are going to take out of this is they're a lot more resilient than they realise. I know that there'll be some people who just break, and that it's happened, and we're seeing it. But I think there's a lot of people who will find a new level of resilience that they didn't know that they had. And I think that's
never been challenged like this before.
Yeah. And this is going to lead into my next question: is what are the positives that you are taking out of this time in lockdown? Some of the positive things that you've been able to implement or that you have taken on, and if you can share that for people, and hopefully they can use some of it.
Well, one of the things that I know there was quite a few things we discussed the other day when we did this the first time.
Yeah.
But one of the things I thought of was, it's actually allowed me a greater amount of time to really get to know my clients, how they live, what their home situation's like, how, and just mentally people are they feel a lot more able to open up with the use of technology that they might not face to face because they'd feel awkward or, so I think people are becoming a lot more open and honest about things, which is great, because it's easier to help someone if they tell you what's really wrong. Whereas, as a coach, sometimes you're like trying to pull for clues and piece it all together. Whereas people are a lot more open to sharing that type of thing now, I think, because they're struggling and they just really need the help. Also, just, like doing all the calisthenic stuff, learning how to do a lot of body weight exercises has been great. And just learning different training modalities too, like apart from doing the handstands, obviously, like I still do coaching with Gav as well, and I've done a lot of different types of training methods than what we would have done in the gym. So we've gone through a whole lot of different types of training just to find different ways to stimulate muscle with limited equipment, and to just keep the training stimulus there. Also, just because I've been running group classes, I've also gotten into a lot more types of, body weighted movements there. So I've been doing a lot more animal flow stuff and really focusing on the actual mechanics behind the boxing and kickboxing stuff that I already did before, because we can't use equipment and we can't use bags and pads. So focusing on getting people to connect with their, like, to build a mind muscle connection, to connect with what they're actually moving when they're moving, as opposed to just, kick or, punch or do it this way, but actually connecting their movement with like purpose and getting people to become more aware, like you mentioned before, more aware of their bodies. And like, it's been really great getting clients to learn these little things, because there's like a lot of them, they comment when they're doing the exercises on how hard these movements are once they do it properly. And it's like, oh, so you were doing it properly all along. But it's more like, like you said before, it's easier to cheat movements with dumbbells and barbells, and it can look like you're doing everything right, but actually feel it, to mentally feel it, that like that tactile feeling. I think a lot of people are building better body awareness, better mind muscle sort of connection. And they're also a lot more willing to work on things that they might not have wanted to do before. Like I don't need to stretch. I don't need, I don't need to do my warm-ups.
Yeah.
You'd see them come in and just literally like, did you do your warm-ups? Oh no, I didn't have time. I just got here from work. And it's like, okay, now we've got to take that out of the session. Whereas now they're happy to do a lot more of that stuff and incorporate it into the session. And a lot of people are actually just spending a bit more time, like just like learning things on their own as well, or independently, or asking for extra things that they can sort of do to help with the things that you're focusing on in your session. So I think people are a lot more willing to learn at the moment, probably because they've got the luxury of a little bit more time as well. And it's been easier to get clients to focus on simple things that are really like big rocks, like just going for walks, drinking more water, watching more what they put in their body and how it affects them, watching their mental, their emotional state and how it affects them. All these little things that as a coach, you're constantly trying to get them to do. And, depending on the person, some people are great with that stuff and some people are like, too busy. Being how we are at the moment, I think a lot of people have been happier to take that stuff on board and really run with it, especially with the stage 4 restrictions. People really started taking that stuff a lot more seriously with it, I think, because they needed something to focus on that they could learn from and help give them a little bit of control back in their lives as well. And there's been a lot of positives from it, and just having to get accustomed with all this new technology that we haven't all been using all along. It's good. It's adding more skills to our repertoires, not just the physical skills, but the business skills as well. So, and there's been a lot of great resources out there because everyone's having to do everything online. So, I mean, been a lot of opportunity for upskilling, a lot of opportunity for, if you're doing the work, to actually get new clients and meet people that you might not have actually been able to coach before because they might have been against doing stuff online. So now I'm training clients all around Victoria because they don't have to be. Whereas it was always a little bit harder to do that before. I think now people are a lot more open to that, rather than just going in my neighborhood, so I'll train with them. Now they're like, okay, no, I'm a good match for this person, so I'll train with them.
And I think that's what I want to get out of these calls as well, is, get people to see that there are other trainers out there, and you can, like, don't be afraid to step up and send them a message and say, look, I love the stuff that you're doing. Can you help me out? Because that can be a really big thing for a lot of people.
Sure. Like, I've had trainers in the past that have been awesome and I've gelled with and I trained with them for ages because I did. And then I've had other trainers that I sort of just trained with because I was at the gym and my trainer left and I took on that trainer and I never gelled with them. And so I wasn't that invested in the sessions. It wasn't a life-changing experience for me. Whereas the one I've stuck with for longer, it's been a life-changing experience for me. I'm happy to work with them because we have our values align, we have similar coaching philosophies. I can learn from them, and they're someone that I aspire to be. So
Yeah.
as opposed to like someone that's giving me box jumps and counting my reps, it's not really going to do it for me.
Yeah.
It's going to make well.
Yeah. I think that there's more out there, and people need to be aware that it is a lot easier now to access people, coaches,
Yeah.
online, and it's obviously this is a big thing for the industry. It's a bit of a shock for a lot of trainers. I know, like myself, I have not done any online sort of stuff, but still trying to check in with my clients and stuff like that, because I
Yeah.
just find it being at home full time with a small child, I just can't, like, I can't commit to that extra work at
Yeah.
this present stage.
And it's like, what's the priority for you? Raising your son,
Yeah.
spending time on the computer when you could be like
Yeah.
raising his. It is a
Now, one thing I know people will want to see is your lovely little dog, Poncho. He is probably sleeping because you've worn him out.
So this is my like mascot, pretty much.
Your mascot. He does invade all your social media, and he looks
He's
a
a
bit
little.
grumpy. Did you wake him up?
Well, he's just sleepy. He had a big dog walk, play, and hike this morning. And
Yeah.
then when I tried Riley earlier, he came along and he was annoying her during her exercises. This time, he left me alone. Every time she was trying to put her foot down to do split squats, he was under her foot. Like, poor thing. He loves his auntie. Yes, he's a very sleepy boy. I should really put the light on him a bit better.
That's all
But
right.
yeah, he's been great for my mental health during lockdown too. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like things like, you know, just being able to have hugs and have this little clown to laugh at and brighten my spirits. And it gives me a reason to get outside as well. Like, and to really enjoy nature because I have the perfect excuse. I have to go to the dog park. I have a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really makes you get out of the house and, like I said, get that vitamin D, get yourself
Yeah.
moving. And sometimes all you need is just that, 20-minute walk, and
Yeah.
all of a sudden your whole mental and physical well-being changes, and it's massive.
It's huge. And people don't realize it until you ask them to do it and they start doing it and they're like I've got a few clients at the moment who they're doing check-ins every week and they're doing the nutrition and like we're looking at the patterns and everything. And it's like, okay, you had a better week this week. You went out for walks 5 days this week. That made a big difference to your week. And it's like, yeah, I need to do that every day. And it's like, great. It's great. It's one thing for us to tell them something like that, but it's great for them to see it in practice and actually be tracking it themselves and go, oh yeah, I had a much better week mentally this week. I felt better and made better food choices, and all of it could be from something as simple as upping their water intake or getting those little like extra steps in during the day. So yeah, it makes all those little things add up to feeling a lot better and just being able to cope a lot better at the moment. How you going, bud? I will make you sit here.
Yeah. He's not happy about it. So if people want to get in touch with you, what is your Instagram, Facebook? How can they get in touch with you?
Instagram's the easiest. It's km.health on Instagram. And it links to my Facebook and everything anyway. I think I'm like KM Health Fit on Facebook. But yeah, Instagram's usually the easiest one. I'm generally a lot more active on there because there's a lot less going on there. So there's a lot more on there.
I'll bleep that out.
Oops.
Thank you very much for today. Again, apologies for Friday and not recording it. I will post this up. It'll probably come up tomorrow morning. I'll put it on to upload overnight. But yeah, if you can like share it, get people to watch it. It will be up on YouTube. I'll post out some stuff tomorrow as well. Cool. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for today.
All right, no problem. Go and enjoy your Father's Day.
All right. See you later.
Bye.